everyone, welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend preview previewing Premier League, Championship and FA Cup action this weekend, last before the international break. And starting off in the Premier League on Friday night with Nottingham Forest hosting Newcastle. And yeah, Forest not on a great run at the moment, winless in 5 games. They need to pick some points up because, only 2 points above the relegation zone, so really getting sucked into what is a very tight battle. Newcastle in 5th, 4 points behind Tottenham, but with 2 games in hand. Liverpool also lurking. They need points for their top 4 battle. I think Newcastle winning ways lasting well. I think they're going to continue it here. Moving on into Saturday, and we've got Aston Villa taking on Bournemouth at 3 o'clock. No lunchtime game, and Villa, but after 3 defeats on the trot, their form starting to pick up, with 2 wins and a draw in their last 3 games. They'll be coming to this one with confidence. But as will Bournemouth, of course, with that 1-0 win over Liverpool. What an incredible result that was for them. I think Villa, though, at home will be feeling confident. I'm going to say 2-0, though. Moving on then to Brentford as they take on Leicester at the Brentford Community Stadium. And Brentford coming into this one off the back of a 2-0 win against Southampton. Leicester, they've lost 5 on the trot now. And Brentford, their form, what can you say? It's just so good, isn't it? They really are pushing for a European finish. And Leicester right in a relegation scrap, level on points with Bournemouth in 18th. But yeah, I think Brentford will win here again. I think they'll have too much, and 2-1 for me. Moving on then to Southampton as they take on Tottenham at St Mary's. And Southampton, their form has picked up, hasn't it, slightly since Ruben Sellers came in. I'd still say it's not really at the level which is really going to secure Southampton their Premier League safety. Unfortunately, they need to start picking up results and fast against the Tottenham side, who are inconsistent at the moment. I think we can say that. I think Tottenham will still feel confident, especially with Southampton's terrible home form. Getting a result here, I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. Moving on then to Wolves as they take on Leeds at Molineux. And Wolves coming into this one off the back of a loss to Newcastle last time out. And their form over the last 5 games, it's just been inconsistent really. Lots of losses, but they all have a win and a draw in there as well. So you don't really know what you're going to get from Wolves. But still only 3 points to go with the relegation zone. Leeds inside the relegation zone. So it's a big 6 points. We know how close it is down at the bottom of the table. I think Wolves will have a bit too much here at home. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Chelsea as they take on Everton in the 5:30 game. Chelsea will come into this one off the back of 3 wins in a trot. It does feel like the tide is starting to turn for Graham Potter and things are picking up. Everton picked up a crucial win against Brentford because for the last 3 games before that, they'd only picked up 1 point. So that's a big win for them. And you think they'll be okay, but they're another one of the teams right in the middle of this chaotic relegation battle, I think is the word to describe it. I'm going to say Chelsea will get the win here. 2-0 for me. Moving on then to Arsenal as they take on Crystal Palace in the only Premier League game on Sunday due to FA Cup action. And Arsenal crashing out against Sporting in Europa League, playing 120 minutes. That could have an effect on them. But in a way, I do kind of feel like it may also be a blessing in disguise. They can concentrate on the Premier League. Taking on a Crystal Palace side who's sacked Patrick Vieira. I know their form recently has been really bad, but I still feel like it's harsh. I think over the course of his time there, he did a good job, but we'll have to see which way it goes. Still not at the relegation battle, and I can see Arsenal making them pay. 2-0 for me. Moving on then to the FA Cup action, and it's the quarterfinals, of course. Wembley awaits for the teams that win here, and Man City taking on Burnley at 5:45. Man City coming into this one on fine form, aren't they? Defeating Leipzig 7-0. They're back to their best at the moment and really going in for the running. But Burnley, what an incredible season they're having as well. So you can't write them off here and say, absolutely no chance. Vincent Kompany returning to Etihad, of course. But I think City will have too much to them here. 4-0 for me. Moving on then to Sheffield United as they take on Blackburn. And what a great chance this is for both these teams. At least one AFL team going to Wembley. In the semi-finals of the FA Cup, so a great story. And Sheffield United, their form's been inconsistent while they try to get over the line and get a space in the Premier League next season. But Blackburn, their form's picked up as well, 4 points from the last 5, so it's a hard one to call. But Sheffield United being at home, I do think they will feel confident coming into this one. I think they'll just about nick it. I'm going to say 2-1 to the Blades. Moving on then to Brighton as they take on Grimsby at the Amex. And Brighton coming into this one on great form, aren't they? 3 wins from the last 4. Grimsby, what an incredible run they've had. They won the last 2 in the league net as well. They'll come into it with a mindset there's absolutely nothing to lose. If they do it, it'll be an incredible story for them to get to Wembley. If not, what a journey it's been for them. So I'm going to say it'll be 2-0 to Brighton. Moving on then to Manchester United as they take on Fulham at Old Trafford. And Manchester United coming into this one off the back of their good win in Europa League against Betis. But before that, a few disappointing results in the league recently. Lost to Liverpool, draw against Southampton. Games, especially Southampton one they want to be living. And who could forget about the Liverpool game? But taking on Fulham side, lost the last two. So maybe seem just running out both these sides. Tiredness ahead of the break. But I'm going to say United at home will get the job done at 2-0. Moving on then to the Championship games this week. There's a lot going on in the Championship. Blackpool taking on Coventry. And Blackpool, what an incredible result it was for them last time out. 6-1 win against QPR. Who saw that coming? One win in the last 20 or something like that before it. It's just incredible. And Coventry picking up a few draws recently. 3 draws in the last 5, but they are unbeaten since the beginning of February. So, it won't be an easy game this for Blackpool at all. But I think they're going to continue their momentum. I don't think they're going to win, but I can see them picking up another point. 1-1. Moving on into Borough as they take on Preston at the Riverside. And Borough coming into this one, I think the draw against Stoke will be really frustrating for them because it's a game which they probably consider they should have won and put more pressure on the Blaze. But it's 6 points now, 9 points again, not insurmountable, but still frustrating, but on a great run and can still close them down. Taking on a Preston side who've won the last 2, only 7 points off the Borough. Looks a tough ask, but you never know as you put together a run in the latter stages. But I think Borough here will probably have too much. So I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Millwall as they take on Huddersfield at the Den. And Millwall, after a few games where the form was a bit disappointing, they've recovered it with 2 wins on the trot, which is really good form for them, and they're looking good for a playoff spot. But Huddersfield really struggling. Good point against Norwich last time out before, but rumours of off the pitch issues as well isn't helping. It really is looking like a tough ask for them to stay in the Championship this season. I think Millwall will pick up another home win here. Moving on then to Reading as they take on Hull at the Medici Stadium. And this is a big game for Reading. Because obviously points deduction incoming, their form is really bad, sliding down the table, would only be 3 points ahead of their points deduction more than 4th. So Hull though kind of mid-table at the moment, their form isn't overly brilliant, you kind of feel like their season's over really, but Reading, their season very much isn't over, and I think they'll really go for this one, and it's a game which they kind of feel like they have to win, I think. So I'm going to say Reading will pick up the win. I'm going to say 2-1. Moving on then to Rotherham as they take on Coventry at the New York Stadium. And Rotherham coming into this one, 2 losses on the trot, only got a 5-point gap over Blackpool. So, with the form Blackpool maybe coming into with that win, not totally over for them. And Cardiff drawing against West Brom last night, it's a good point as well. You feel like they've got a good enough form to stay up, but Blackpool coming on the charge, who knows? It's a big game for both these sides, and I'm going to say it will be a 1-1 draw. Moving on then to Stoke as they take on Norwich at the Bet365 Stadium. And Stoke coming into this one off the back of a really good draw against Middlesbrough and 2 wins before against Sunderland and Blackburn. So you do feel like it really is starting to click for Alex Neilsman, which is a great sign, obviously. Charging at the table into 14th now. But Norwich in 7th. They need some points to get themselves in the back and playoffs mix. Their form recently has been decent, so I think they'll be feeling confident. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Sunderland as they take on Luton at the Stadium of Light. And Sunderland coming into this one off the back of that 2-1 loss to Sheffield United. I think going ahead, that will be a disappointing result for them. And 4 losses in the last 5. It does feel like a playoff charge has kind of petered out, which will be frustrating. But, still been a good first season back in the Championship for them. But Luton, 4 wins from the last 5. Things are really starting to pick up, and they're looking really good for a playoff spot. Got a decent cap over Norwich now. So, I think they'll be feeling confident heading into this one. I'm going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. QPR take on Birmingham at Loftus Road on Saturday Championship, and this is a big game for QPR because obviously the Ainsworth era hasn't started well. I think that's fair to say. 4 losses from the last 5. They really are kind of in free fall at the moment, and they need some results. Otherwise, they really are going to be in a relegation battle. I think that's fair to say. It's only got a 7-point gap, taking on a Birmingham side who are just above them. Their form hasn't been incredible either. It's a big game for both these sides. I'm going to say a bit of draw though. I can't say QPR taking advantage. 1-1. Moving on then to Watford as they take on Wigan in the Championship on Saturday. Watford coming into this one yeah, it's fair to say that Chris Wilder's men have a lot to do to get into Palace. Did pick up a win over Birmingham last time out, but 6-point gap to close down. It's going to be a tough ask. Wigan at the foot of the Championship, still got a chance of staying up, but it's a long, long way to go, really, you'd say. But I'm going to say Watford will pick up a win here. I think I have too much of Wigan. I'm going to say it will be 2-0. Moving on then to Swansea as they take on Bristol City at the Liberty on Sunday in the Championship. And yeah, this is an intriguing one because things really aren't going well for Swansea at the moment. I think that's fair to say. Just struggling under Russell Martin. The club is at the moment just doesn't seem a great place to be. They've lost the last 3. Luton did beat Bristol City last time out, and Bristol City 3 losses in the last 5. But before that, we knew how tough they were to beat, and I still think that's the case, even with a slight blip rate lead. Nigel Pearson's done a good job of turning it around. But I can't really see. I'm going to say it'll be a draw. I can't see either team winning, to be honest. But anyway, guys, that's it for you. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, don't talk, comments on football news and subscribe to my channel. It's going to be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.